Hello my friends and welcome back to Sphere Wars. It's my two favourite players playing. It's COD and it's White. And this time we have a battle from COD's perspective. So it will be very interesting to see what happens. And this is one of my favourite maps. This big crater in the middle here is just such good territory to fight over. That usually involves players rushing towards the center to carve out their slice of it. Okay, I guess the other player is White is moving his stuff around right now. So there isn't really much to talk about at the moment as we wait for these boys to get into position. Interesting that COD is he's not really racing for the high ground here. I wonder what his thoughts are. As always, it's difficult to sort of really comment on where the match might go until I know what White is fielding. But we can certainly have a little bit of a discussion about what COD has brought to the table. Okay, so we have a Locust.
Let's move.
A Javelin. This is the armored Javelin.
You betcha. Rolling.
A Quick Draw and a Hunchback. Is that a Hunchback?
Copy that, Commander.
Something with an AC-20 anyway. Or was it an AC-10? Oh, it's a Hatchet Man. Of course it is. AC-10 medium lasers is Hatchet Man. COD is playing incredibly zoomed out here. It's straining my eyes. So when you guys get this recording, of course, you can probably have YouTube use the YouTube zoom in to have a look closer in. The worst part about having a Hatchet Man is having to listen to the axe constantly go whodonk throughout the entire battle.
What can I do for you?
This is a very interesting route to take around the edge of the map here. I'm not truly sure what the goal is.
Copy that.
I mean, it would figure to me that someone going for the center would then
I read you, Commander. Moving out.
would then note, would detect him here and then move to take the high ground. Although he is near this high ground here, so it looks to me like it might take a little bit of time for these boys to engage, as they are certainly not running at each other, at least as far as I can tell. Well, I downloaded the latest version of VLC, so I hope that future weird audio dropouts won't occur. I mean, they're easy to fix. It only took me like 20 seconds to fix it. It just seems like VLC throws a fit and stops feeding sound into the sound card. But just pausing the video and changing the device back and forth seems to fix it. So
Tell me twice.
I've actually been using an old version for a long time now, so
I can.
it's probably fixed.
Roger.
I've always been of the opinion that if it's not broken, don't fix it. Especially when updates to certain softwares usually means more ads,
Knowledge.
more bloat, and less stability for no real security gains. Okay, we still don't know where White is. I must admit, I'm not 100% happy with COD's positioning here, simply because White could potentially be on top of this hill by now. By the way, in the background, I don't know if you guys hear it as cleanly as I do, but I hear what sounds like a raven constantly cloaking and uncloaking stuff. So I presume that White has got a raven. If he does, that's going to be a real pain for a COD to deal with. But the quick draw and the javelin and the locust are all very, very, very. He just saying the same thing. You can hear it across the map. The raven sound.
Waiting on you, Commander.
So yeah, just going back to what I was thinking. The quick draw, the javelin, and the locust are all very mobile, and so could potentially get underneath the raven's circle quite easily.
I leap, I soar.
10-4.
Okay. COD's making his move forward here, but he still hasn't encountered the enemy, who apparently is still down there in that pit. I highly doubt that that's the case, though. The hatchet sound drives me crazy. It is so annoying. If only there was a way to mute it, or to forbid the pilot from constantly flexing it. Like Ira from Jagged Alliance too. Just, you know, mute button. Don't want to listen to her anymore.
Good to go.
Okay.
I'm there.
I wonder why COD is deciding to,
Waiting
like,
on you, Commander.
run along the valley here instead of along the high ground.
Confirmed.
Maybe he thinks he's being sneaky. Okay, are we literally just going to sit here? I mean, they have a big yellow line on top of each other, I believe, showing them where the general location of where the enemy is, so you can't really get all that sneaky. Okay.
Commander?
Still waiting for contact. Sometimes this makes me wish that I actually pre-watched the video, because then I would know that nothing happens.
10-4.
The usual meeting spot is such a bad position for the non-hosting player. So I was trying to avoid it. Okay, so uncharacteristically here, I'm going to speed things up, see what happens. Still no contact. Still no contact. So I hope no one minds me skipping minutes of the battle here, but since it is a recording, we might as well. Okay, so they've just about encountered each other here. COD has just moved forward around the valley here. Still playing the non-combat music, so no one's fired a shot yet. Okay, so let's assess this positioning here. So COD swept in round the side, and it looks like White actually has a water/high ground position here.
Waiting for orders.
Hard to decide who really has an advantage, but I mean, I can just presume that if White moves up on the high ground, he'll have a great
Engaging jump jets.
shot if he wants it. Hell, White could reserve here if he wishes. And he does. Okay, so now what? Still don't know what White has got. 30 tons, okay. That's the Raven. Surely. Exiting combat.
I hear ya.
He's on top of that hill.
Got it.
It might have been a mistake to exit combat, because it now means that COD will go can make White go second, I think. Still, it's a low ground position versus a high ground position. I'm not sure how I feel about that for COD.
10-4.
He's obviously going to try and get a surround here, I guess.
Acknowledge.
The high ground position is very nice, but potentially, if he sits up there, if COD actually sort of goes around and creates a pincer, he might be able to come out on top simply because White will have to show his back to one side of his mechs. Come on, boys.
Standing by.
Okay.
Up high.
I don't know if he needs to maintain this kind of distance, but okay. The funny part is that none of COD's mechs are long range, really. If White has got any sort of decent LRM boat, he might be happy to just sit up there and fire missiles down on COD. Go for it, actually. Yeah, you can move up, hide behind the rock, sensor lock that target, whatever it is. This is COD absolutely maximizing the distance between him and White on that hill.
Good to go.
Well, he needs to figure out what it is that he wants to do with his life, because he is about to run out of time. Eight.
Affirmative.
I might have gone with the Locust myself, but okay.
I've got a sensor lock.
Okay, it's a Javelin. It's the armoured one. Erroneously called the Fire Javelin, even though it's the one with the least firepower. Okay. But, I mean, the thing is, he's revealed it, but he hasn't got any long-range mechs to actually engage it. Not really. Ironically, about the longest range weapon he's got, I think, is the AC-10. This is definitely a brawler lance, so I'm not sure what it can do in a standoff. And not only is it a brawler lance, but you're up against a raven, so that makes standoff even harder.
Yeah. Heading out.
This Locust is like literally useless outside of short range, or as a vector for sensor locks. Now you see, this is normally where you'd use your last mech would be your long range one, and you would, you know, bombard your target. But of course, that mech is the Hatchet Man with its AC-10. Still, if he's got a breaching shot on the AC-10, that it might get some work done. I haven't totally memorized all the multiplayer pilots yet.
What are your orders, Skipper?
Nope. His last mech to use is this quick draw. The LRM-10 is, you know, ropey at best for long range work.
Ten four.
50% of a 60% reduction. I mean, your potential damage is 6 to 10 at best. I'm not even sure that was worth doing. I'm not sure that 6 damage is worth 10 missiles. I mean, that's a potential 40 damage that launcher could do. Well, I suppose at least we have combat music now. It actually sounds a little bit quiet. Let's bump up that sound a little bit. I still have no clue, other than a Raven and a Javelin, what White is packing, what he brought to this fight. Okay, that's got to be the Raven. 35 tons, that's the Raven. I erroneously said earlier that the 30-ton light might be the Raven. I just wasn't thinking. Man, he's up there and he does not want to come down. I think White might have left himself open to an attack on his Raven here, but, you know, once again, I don't really feel like COD has got the long-range mechs to capitalize. Well, he's going to go for it. So, now what? We have still not seen the other two mechs. It makes you wonder if they're even up there. And that they're not actually secretly sneaking around. Okay, that was an interesting move. I presume that he wants to jump behind the quick draw. Maybe.
What do you need? Got it.
Be funny if we suddenly see that White's other two mechs appear out of nowhere behind COD. You can't even see the locust in the trees there. Okay, he actually took 8 damage. Still pretty bad for 10 missiles.
Holding action, Commander.
Okay, here we go in the assault phase. I don't know, White's Javelin is in a very risky position, I think. If it jumps behind the Hatchet Man and starts shooting it in the back, then that's, I mean, that's great for one attack. But then if the Hatchet Man turns around and smacks it with his axe, it's going to be in for a world of hurt. Okay, he's making a move because the timer has stopped.
What can I do for you?
Ha! DFA! Yeah, go!
No sweat.
DFA would actually break the guard, funnily enough. Seems a bit extreme to do it straight away, though. Come on, COD, why'd you have to put the sun in our eyes? Come on, seriously. You know, I'd be so impressed if White playing around here is all a delaying tactic because his other two mechs are actually closing in from a different angle and they're not with the Raven at all.
Yup. I'm there.
He doesn't really have a good shot on either mech, but they're both lights, so any damage will be good. Okay, it's not bad. 26 damage. 50-50 chance to hit. It's about as good as he was going to get.
Holding for the right opportunity.
And a little bit of damage is better than no damage at all. I still can't believe we haven't seen or heard from White's other two mechs. Okay. Wait a minute. Now surely, if they were up there, the movement of the Raven would reveal them. that they would now be out of the bubble. Right? So are they not here? I'm presuming he's got 2 more mechs because, you know, COD has got 4, and they're not an unreasonable set.
Waiting on you, Commander.
Yeah?
Standing by.
I am
Waiting for
so confused right now. I bet COD is confused right now as well. He must be wondering to himself, where are they?
Yep. On it.
Okay.
Got a lock.
The Raven is revealed and he has 3 turns left to go. I'm still wondering where on earth rest of White's lance is. COD, you must realize that something is not right here.
Commander?
Ready to rock.
He's got to be thinking something's up now.
Uh-huh. Sensors locked on.
Man, this is weird. This is a very weird match. Well, COD is playing really defensively right now. So if White is maneuvering his other 2 mechs somewhere on the map, then White might not be punished for it. Because, you know, the way you avoid getting surrounded is that you just aggressively run in at one of the sides and just 4v2 them down as quickly as you can. Then turn around to face your flankers.
Ready to rock.
That's a good shot. I like that shot.
Lifting off. Firing all
Oh,
weapons.
nice hit. I wonder if that's the ECM side. We actually opened up the leg there. I think that's the ECM side. Dun dun dun. Dramatic zoom in. Yep, that is the ECM side.
Yup.
That's not a bad chance to hit.
Engaging jump jet.
Oh, nice hits. He didn't quite get anything, but he nearly did. What is going on here? Surely White's lance is not just these 2 mechs. Surely. That would be crazy. There's no way you get a hatchet man, a locust, a quick draw, and a javelin for the cost of a javelin and a raven. Surely. I'm not totally sure I would have moved the Raven yet. After all, he can't shoot it until it's revealed. And it takes quite a bit of effort to reveal it. So it's technically invincible until COD does something to expose it.
They've got a lock on me. Standing by.
I'm so confused. And also what's slightly confusing is why COD is not aggressively moving to shut these two mechs down if they're literally just going to be sat here on their own. After all, his entire lance is medium range to short range, so you might as well get stuck in. Okay. Waiting for White to decide what he's doing. Okay, he's obviously moving something. Yeah, he has got more mechs. He blatantly does. Because he blatantly moved something there and it wasn't these two.
Confirmed.
.55 because of the shot from the high ground. 45? 50.
Lifting off. Engaging target.
Okay, kind of pointless. These two mechs are blatantly on their own. I know COD is like a super defensive player and often his opponents exploit it. COD, surely you must realize that these two mechs are on their own right now and they're waiting for whatever backup there is to circle around. I mean, I would just be tempted to actually sprint at them and then next turn melee them to death. You jump the quick draw in and you sprint the hatchet man in or whatever. You sprint the locust in and you sprint the other javelin in. They might do some serious damage to one mech, but then next turn you could just rumble them to death.
Copy that. I've got a sensor lock.
Why sensor lock? It's already exposed, right? And it can't move. Okay. You know that javelin is just begging to be meleeed.
Ready, set, firing everything I've got.
Oof. I'm not sure if that was worth it though. Oh, maybe the back attack on the javelin might have been better. But then again, it's got 6 evasion tokens. I feel like flying javelins are really annoying to deal with unless you destabilize them, unless you hit them. What is going on here? I don't in the slightest understand White's strategy here,
Reserving action.
or where his other mechs are. It is bending my mind. There is no point in jumping or firing. Yeah, just cool down. Okay, so now what? At the risk of repeating myself here, but I still don't understand the strategy. Good little rear hit there.
I'm taking internal damage.
Although, I mean, that's a lot of heat to do that. Now you're in melee range of the hatchet man. That is bad news. Yeah, why not? You could melee him and MG him in the back.
What do you need?
Reading you.
Oh, this is gonna hurt.
Move order received. Ha!
Oof.
Reporting critical hit.
I don't get it. I don't get it. It just feels like White has thrown this unit away. Ha! He is going around the back. Jesus, that took a
Can't take
while.
any more of those.
Yep. Understood.
Ugh.
It feels a bit late. And the funny part is that COD could have punished this much harder. You could have aggressively gone after the Javelin and the Raven and possibly killed them both by now, if he didn't play so defensively. But he did. He played mega defensively, and so this sort of has worked.
The flank. Reporting internal damage. What can I do for you?
Just move, yeah, just move. I wouldn't jump. It's too much heat. I would just move.
Time to fly.
Well, what do I know?
Getting pretty hot in here, Commander.
That Javelin's nearly dead.
What do you
Even
need?
the Locust might be able to finish the job. I'm not sure if I would stand still to do it, though.
Copy that.
Ooh, that might have done it.
Hostile removed.
Okay. Now, it is my understanding that White does not have a line of sight here anymore. I don't. If this strategy from White was too fancy for its own good. And honestly, it nearly worked because COD is not very aggressive. But of course, now he knows 100% that those enemies are behind him.
Affirmative.
I presume he's going to hunt down this Raven.
I've got a sensor lock.
And then turn around to deal with his pursuers. Whatever they may be. You got me good with that flank, I'll admit. COD's won the BV meta, apparently. Well, I'll certainly be the judge of that when I see what else White has got. Wajonk. $20 tons, really? That's a missile locust.
Waiting on you, Commander.
That is zero excitement unit.
Coordinates received.
Raven is actually quite an expensive unit, and maybe it was the wrong choice to deploy it over some heavier gear. Flank took too long to develop. Wait, they're both missile locusts.
Confirmed.
So his entire lance was 2 missile locusts, a raven, and a javelin? I don't actually feel like that lance has much chance against a hatchet man, a quick draw, and a javelin. This is not the match I was expecting. I was expecting a much more competitive match, I guess. Nice hit! Oh, outstanding! Oh! Well, that was good.
Good to go.
That was pretty cool, actually. The thing is, all he needs to do now is to just turn his back to the Raven. He doesn't even need to kill it. It's so badly damaged, I don't really feel like it can contribute much. The quick draw alone is more than capable of wiping out the entire of White's lands, if played well. So, yup. He can go after the Raven if he wants, but
Yes, Commander.
I think he's got this, personally. That's a bad position. Why not take a shot? It's only got 2 evasion tokens.
Engaging jump jet.
It's about as good as you're ever going to get. Okay, he's hungry for the Raven. You can't really blame him. It's got the most firepower. It's also really badly damaged. I'm sure the move will be to jump the quick draw in and just let loose. But it doesn't even need to jump it. I would personally just walk it. Try and prevent more heat damage. Okay. The music suddenly died. The music just cut out right on cue.
Yep.
I guess this is technically like 1 hour into the video or something. Though I skipped a bit. Just move, just move. You don't have to jump all the time. Just waddle forward. No need to run hotter than you already are running. Okay. I personally wouldn't cook myself.
I'm on him.
Oof. That hurt.
Critical hit. My heat gauge is getting pretty high.
Still, that's a lot of self-damage that really doesn't need to be done. Now the Raven's disabled. If that Hatchet Man is in melee range, he should just run forward and smack that Locust in the
Waiting
face.
orders.
Probably actually kill it outright. 1 hit.
Commander?
No! Reserve! Just reserve.
Standing by.
Raven is just... There's nothing left of it. Still don't feel like it was worth firing that extra laser, even though it did hit. Because at the end of the day, he did 25 extra damage to his enemy. In return, he did
They've got a lock on me.
about 40 damage to himself. Not quite sure where you sort of feel like that's a good trade. But that said, I mean, he's winning so strongly that I guess it doesn't really matter. I guess this match is kind of an example of playing Inner Sphere Wars wrong. That Raven must have a really high points
They
cost.
got a sensor lock on me.
Meanwhile, you know, that Hatchet Man, the AC-10 one, is very cheap. And so is the Quick Draw, relatively cheap. Okay, the Locust is running in. Nice. He was totally trying to get that AC-10 ammo to cook off.
I'm here.
But it doesn't really matter now. This Locust is going to die. If it doesn't die outright,
Location.
it's going to be left with very little health. Oh, no, it died outright.
Enemy.
Good to go.
Butchered. Forget the Raven, it's got no weapons. Go after the Locust.
Got it.
You made the best use of Locusts I've ever seen.
Sensors locked on.
Confirmed.
They're not exactly great, are they? Let's be honest.
Affirmative.
Does the barbecue continue? Wait a minute, why switch off? That's a bit weird. He switched off a 65%er there
Critical hit.
and left a 60 running. I wouldn't be terribly interested right now in killing this Raven anyway. But, oh well, whatever.
Commander?
So, we're just waiting for the inevitable death of White here. In what was kind of a little bit of a disappointing match. He's behind the hatchet man, but he has actually no weapons with which to fire at the back of it, so I'm not sure what that achieves.
Reading you. Ten-4.
Okay, that's 2 units in the bubble. Actually, no need to sensor lock. Just strangely cautious play. That's a sprint to get into position so that next turn he can go behind the hatchet man and try and detonate the AC-10 ammo.
Orders.
And if he gets it, I will laugh because it will be amazing. He's gonna DFA him to try and stop it. Oh, what a gambit.
Right, Commander.
Oof.
Critical hit, Commander. Minor damage, Commander.
Alright. That's the Locust dead. It's gotta be.
Orders.
Nice idea with the hatchet against the hatchet man. It's quite obvious that that was what his thought was. If I can get behind him and detonate the ammo, then I might get another kill. And that would actually be a great victory for the Free Worlds League to get a Locust and a hatchet man.
Enemy eliminated. Watch my heat.
Okay. Now what? Just eject. You might as well just eject. $25 damage, even a headshot wouldn't have been dangerous.
I'm getting all shot up, Command.
Why reserve? Just shoot him. Just shoot him! Precision strike, why? Totally unnecessary. 6
Good to
HP.
go.
Alright, GG.
Commencing Alpha strike.
Okay, so actually a little bit of a disappointing game, I think. White just didn't really have, in my opinion, he didn't really have the units to have a good chance of winning this. I liked his idea with the flank. It just took a bit too long to execute. And I'm not sure why he brought his javelin so far forward as well. That felt a bit like a giveaway, basically. And that javelin was his best mech by miles, offensively anyway. The Raven's a fantastic piece of kit, but it's very expensive as far as I'm aware. Maybe those BV were better spent actually on more combat capable units. But we don't know what he had available on the planet and all that kind of thing. You know, there's a whole metagame around this. So yeah, that for now is it with all the replays that have been submitted. So hopefully Innosphere Wars will submit some more, and I will try to get them to be... I'll repeat this on some update video or whatever, because very few people watch these to the end. But I will try and make sure that future replays are 60 seconds at least, and try and get matches that are, you know, closer, not potentially walkovers. Alright, well, that's it for now. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you guys next time.